A warm welcome to all. My name is Devika Chibber Mehta, and I am your host for the talk show A Woman for a Woman, where we bring in women contributors of the society. So, every year, International Women's Day is celebrated on March 8th to spread the message of love, care, and bonding. Annually celebrated, the day aims to highlight the achievements made by women across the globe. The day also ensures to create awareness among women in order for them to take their stand and fight against gender discrimination in society. This year, UN announced their theme for 2022 as Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. So now one of the major discriminations women face in everyday life is period taboos. Every month, 1.8 billion people across the world menstruate. Millions of these girls, women, and other transgender men and non binary persons are unable to manage their menstrual cycle in a dignified and healthy way. So, what can we do this year to help them out, to help us out? We can talk. We can let go of that shame which is surrounding period taboos. It's a natural biological process. So, why not treat it that way? And in today's episode, we have a very special personality who has dealt with these issues in not just personal manner, but also she's researching on the subject in her own ways. My today's guest is a M.sc Biotech researcher and podcaster of LightHouseTalk that talks about parenting techniques in season 1. And her season 2 is especially going to be focused on periods and puberty. She's working for women's health and hygiene and soon launching cup version masterclass, which we are going to talk about later. So please join me in welcoming Arpita Srivastava. Hello, Arpita. Welcome to our show.
Hi, Devika. Thank you so much for this warm welcome and for such a nice introduction. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So, Arpita, if I am right, you have attended some Menstrupedia masterclasses. So, can you tell us more about that? What is Menstrupedia? What are the extra classes which you took there? The workshops you attended there. So, can you tell us more about it?
Okay. So, Menstrupedia is basically a comic book they have created. There's Aditi and her husband. They both created Menstrupedia and Gulu, both. So Menstrupedia is to educate girl about periods, and Gulu is for boys because there are some changes in the boys as well at the puberty stage. So now, what they do is they conduct these master classes to teach all of them, whoever wants to educate girls on periods or whoever wants to contribute to it. The master class is about how you can talk about it in a way that it is not offending to parents as well, and it is like a very easy to communicate, and you without putting that fear into girls. Because when we were little, and I think you must also have faced this, in general, most of the parents didn't talk about menstruation to their girls, right? Most of the time we learned it from school, or not in the healthy environment from the school as well. We learned from our friends whatever they knew, right? Our teacher also, I remember my teacher skipped the topic of the chapter of reproduction, and I think that happened to many of us. So Menstrupedia is a comic book that is available for 9-year plus girl. They can read about periods in comic book. There's audio also available. So in the master class, they teach how you can create your own content, how you, if you want to educate about periods. So what are the topics which you need to keep in mind? What are the things which you need to keep it in mind? Because you cannot offend anyone and talk, right? This is a taboo. The periods are taboo, like I think from past I don't know how many years. It's still a taboo.
Years.
Towards it, yeah. So they teach it. The masterclass teaches us how we can talk about it, how we can make our own content, and ideas obviously will be ours, but they just teach what are the things that we need to keep in mind. So that's the masterclass was all about.
Okay, so when we talk about Aditi and her husband, so what do they actually teach during that masterclass? The contents which you're talking about, the creation of your own content you're talking about. So, what did you learn from your masterclass?
Okay, so I learned what are the things which I should keep in mind. I mean, as I've told you, it should not be offended. Whatever the content is, whatever my belief is, I don't need to put it in front of like I don't need to force it on everyone. We need to consider everybody's point of view about periods, about myths about it. So if I know it's a myth, right? So there's a way of telling that it's a myth. You can't be, you cannot insult the other one that you are believing a myth. You need to just convey your message. So they are just teaching how to convey your message to the one, how you can create your own content. I mean, the same as I said, they only teach the specific points which you need to consider. That means how to convey your message, how to talk to parents, and what are the things which should be there in your content. Just like if suppose if you talk about menstrual products, right? So there are pads, there are tampons, there are menstrual cups. So even if I use menstrual cup, I cannot force it to other people. Okay, so they just teach us that if they're using pads, that's also fine, right? If you're conveying that you should use cups, menstrual cups, you can only tell them the pros and cons about it. It's all up to them that if they want to use it or not. So pads are also good, tampons are also. You don't need to create any fear about any product or any fear about any hygiene. You just need to convey your message in a way that it's not offended. It's not offending any parent or any society members or anyone. So they just teach that. They don't know, they don't give any content, right? They don't give like you should tell these things to person. You think about your own content and they just tell you how you can convey it to others.
So
So
they
that's
help
the
you
thing about
enhance your strategies
it.
and
Yes,
the ways you express
exactly.
your thoughts
Yes,
basically
yes.
and convey it to the other audience. So
Yeah.
when we
And
talk about, yeah, sorry.
they also provide the comic book. They tell you that you can take our comic book, you can learn from it, and you can convey the message about comic book, that there is a comic book available. You can read that as well, and if you want to add your content not to the comic book separately, how you can convey that. So that's the thing.
But that's really an interesting idea. So you read a comic and 9-year, 10-year-olds, basically they do have that interest in animation and graphics and stuff. So
Yes.
getting knowledge through that, it's an interesting idea. So
Yes.
kudos to Menstrupedia team for that. And while you were talking about the ways menstruation can be seeked out. I mean, not seeked out actually. The ways we use, in which we things we use during periods, basically. So we were talking about sanitary pads, which I'm sure almost much of the audience knows about. But about the tampons and cups, menstrual cups, when we talk about. So can you elaborate, because you have researched more on that, so can you elaborate more on the use of these products and the benefits or the challenges surrounding it?
Yeah, sure. So now this soon I'm launching the cup version masterclass, and in that masterclass I'm going to be teaching how you can use the cup, why you should use the cup, and what are the benefits of using the cup. So just like pads are there, sanitary pads are there about for the periods, there are menstrual cups which collects the blood, right? So it doesn't absorb the blood, which is a great thing at very first, because in the pads, in the pads or in the tampons, to make it white, to make it look beautiful and pretty, they put a carcinogen that's called as dioxin, and if it directly comes in contact with your skin, that can, because it's a carcinogen, that can cause cancer, right? So these are the things which we have worked into women's hygiene, but I think we cannot eliminate that carcinogen part. They even wash that cotton, whatever cotton they're using to make pads, they wash it, but that carcinogen, they are not able to remove that. So that's one thing. Other thing is, if you use pad, it absorbs your blood, right? So it makes a humid environment there. That is the best environment for the bacteria to grow. So there is a staphylococcus bacteria which should not grow, because if it grows and if it comes if it enters into your bloodstream, that can cause TSS, that is shock syndrome.
Okay.
basically. So that's one thing. Other thing is, you can obviously save the environment and save the money. Save the environment as in, if you're like, suppose, let's say, I think average women menstruate from 3 to 4 days every month, right? And I think if we can take an idea, if they change the pads every 6 hours, so I think they, in a month, they can, like, they uses like around 30 pads, they
More or
throw
less,
it away,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, more or less, according to that, according to their flow as well. It's not 6 hours for everyone. According to their flow, they can go for, they can change it for 3 hours, 4 hours, for whatever it is. So if we talk about, the garbage that collects only through menstruating, and as you said, there are 1.8 billion women who menstruate.
Yes.
So think about the garbage we are creating, and it's not, it's not biodegradable. It has carcinogen, it's not biodegradable. And if we use cup, that one cup we can use for 5 years, the single cup, it saves you money. It just costs you, according to the, varies with the brands, it starts from 250 rupees only till, I mean, till 5,000. That's another issue, but it starts just from 250, and it is made of, a medically approved silicone grade. So that's safe for you. So that is the menstruation cup. So you are saving your money, you are saving your environment, and apart from all this is very comfortable. I think you yourself also use menstrual cup from a very long time. Even before me, you started using it. I just started using
Yes,
it
I
from
think I
like
started
past 2 years.
using back
Yeah.
in 2016. And
Yes.
since, yes, to share my experience, right now I'm using my third cup. I still have those previous cups. I still can use them. So I've been using 3 cups. Use them vice versa every time. And I've been using them since 2016. So it's like 7 years for me now that I've been using it. And it's pretty good. You can swim, you can exercise, you can do several other things. But just to ask you on your research part, so these, when you said that these are made up of silicon material, so is this the same material through which these babies' bottles, nipples bottles are also made? The silicon material which is used
The
there.
silicon grade,
Any
yes,
idea
yes.
about that?
So I'm not exactly sure if what we use in nipples of the baby, but yes, what I'm sure about is menstrual cup. So that is medically approved silicone grade,
So
because
that
I
is it.
haven't read about that, baby's nipples, so that
Right.
I'm not sure of.
Because
But yes,
usually
this
the
is
process is
medically.
very same. I mean, you boil
Mhm.
those bottles, you boil those silicon nipples which are used in those bottles, and
Yes,
similarly, you also boil our these menstrual cups. These
menstrual
can be
cups, yes.
boiled. I mean, we now are getting new devices in the market which helps you make them more hygiene. But earlier, the boiling technique worked with it,
Yeah,
so it's almost the same way. So,
it's the
please tell us more about the content and like how much content it can hold, how many hours, more details about menstrual cups, because I'm sure many women do not know about that.
Yeah, so that's why I have designed this cup version masterclass, wherein I will be teaching them about, there are different cup size, what cup size is perfect for you, and even if you can use it or not, because there are certain cases, it is not for all of them. It is not for
Okay.
all of us, right? There are
Which
some
are
certain
those
cases
cases?
wherein it's like, if you have ever been TSS, which I was talking about, the shock syndrome,
Hmm.
and if you have if you just delivered a baby, and if you had any skin irritation, or if you are allergic to plastics or rubbers, so
Mhm.
these are such cases, or if you have gone into some vaginal surgery, so then it's not for you. And according to your flow, there are different sizes. It's not about age groups, it's about the flow. So there are small cups, medium cups, and large cups according to whatever flows. So to be precise, one this small size cup can hold up to 15 ml of the blood, and we should empty the cups every 6 hours. That's recommended, every 6 hours. And that's not only recommended according to your flow. You can go up to 8 to 12 hours, but to be safe, to be precise, you need to empty your cup every 6 hours, because the same thing, that's a warm environment when your blood collects. So that's a good environment for bacteria to grow. So again, staphylococcus bacteria can grow in that menstrual cup as well. So you need to empty it every 6 to 8. You can go up to 12 hours, that's safe, but not more than that, because you will not be having, you will not be bleeding like those amount of blood. You can go up to 24 hours also, but you should not, it's not recommended that you go. It's not when you fill the cup, it is that you need to follow these hygienes, like you need to empty the cup, you need to wash every time when you're putting inside back to your body, and after every cycle you need to boil it. So these are some things which you need to keep in mind. And as you've asked about, the size of the cups, it differs according to what flow you are getting. So that's the
Right.
thing.
And I think as far as I know that the measurement of the cup, the size of the cup, it varies basically on in three categories. One is for the, I think, the girls who are not married, who are into teenage or who are young. One is for them, and the other is for married women who do not have a baby, or they have a baby through normal delivery. And then we
Yeah.
have cups for women who have a cesarean or C-sections done. So there are
Yeah.
variety of cups in the market, and you can choose
Yeah.
from them. It's not like there's only one size of the cup and everyone has to go with that. No, there are a variety of cups. Companies are coming up and they're doing researches and they're bringing those cups according to those researches. So coming to the
Yeah.
research part, Arpita, you have recently done a survey and a research as to what is going around in the society, the period taboos, and how females with female daughters or male child are dealing with the whole scenario. So, what did you come across in your research?
So, so now speaking about our society where we live in, I think now parents tell their daughters about periods. Okay, that's one thing which is good, but not all of them told. I mean, according to my research, there was, but still to be good, it was a good data. Like 60 to 70% of the parents told their daughters about, not parents. If I talk about it, moms, 60 to
Hmm.
70% of the moms told their daughter about period, but they didn't tell anything to their son, right? So that's the thing. I think the good part was at least they told their daughter, but now they didn't tell the whole process, because you cannot tell the whole process of menstruation, why it's done to a 6 or 7 or 8 year old, right? There are certain age to speak about these things. But when I talk about the male child, there is still a lack of conveying the period message to their son.
Awareness
There
and
are, I think
things.
there are only 20 to 25% of the parents who told me that yes, they are going to tell their son, or they have already told their son also about it. But it's mostly moms told, and also only 70%, not 100%. So there are still women who don't want to talk. There are still moms who don't want to talk about it, only because we are grown in that environment, right? If something was such a taboo for us, our brain are designed like that. We cannot go
Yes.
beyond our brain, right? So that's the thing. They're also not wrong on their part. It's just that they just need to teach their brain a little, because learning is one thing, but now unlearning is another thing, to a new whole level. So you need to unlearn some things which is not required, which that that's not required. So yes, so according to my survey, I think there still needs to be so many information. We still need to have a good platform, who just like Menstrupedia comic.
Hmm.
So we still need a good and a healthy platform to talk about these things, and we need to normalize it as normal as we can do, as normal as we talk about eating something, or talk about fever. So fever is also a condition, right? And fever is a condition which tells you you're not healthy, but since period is a condition which tells you you're healthy, so it's very normal. It's normal talk, and it should be normal in all the. We need a platform,
So
actually.
why do you think there is this shame? I mean, I can understand about the rural areas, and but in urban areas, second-tier cities, third-tier cities, where people are educated, people are getting to understand how things work. Females are working around them. Why do you think there is still this shame around it? Why it has to be taken in black polythenes? Why if someone gets, there are so many terms related to it. You get down, the meter down hai, it's that side of the month, and the flag is down,
Yeah.
red flag is there, jhanda, lal jhanda lehra raha hai. So people still make fun of these ways, but why do you think there's still this shame around it?
Okay, so the shame around it is lack of conversation, lack of communication, and also lack of knowledge. And have you heard of that term that women are real architects of the society? That's very, it is very important. We are the architects of our society. We ourselves make a shame around it. Matlab, the girl of our generation also, I have seen them not talk about it to their husband, or not talk about it to their, to in their family. If they're menstruating, they can't tell they're menstruating, or they're having their periods.
Yes,
So
I often hear,
we are creating,
हाँ मेरी
somehow we
तबीयत
are
ठीक नहीं
creating it
है,
in our
तबीयत
home.
ठीक नहीं है. Why can't you just
तबीयत ठीक नहीं है.
be vocal about it that I am
Yes,
having periods? I am
yes,
having periods for the next 3 days, so I might not feel well. I might have mood
yeah,
swings. I have so they females. I think they personally they don't feel confident about it. We talk about
yes,
patriarchal
yes.
society.
That's
We
the
talk
thing. That's the
yes,
thing.
we talk about all those stuff, but just imagine if I have the situation and I just say it, I have periods. So that is so liberating in its own way. It is so liberating that I came out of it. You came out of that situation and you spoke about it. So,
Yeah,
in my personal experience, to be honest, when we were talking about how moms and parents and families do not do conversations about it, I uh, I was lucky or fortunate that my father told me about it when I was
wow.
in sixth standard. I mean, I got my periods when I was in eighth standard. So, but my father, I just had, I think I remember I just put up one question to my father that वो दीदी नवरात्रों में क्यों नहीं आई? Because probably
Mm-hmm.
she got down and she was not able to attend Navratras. So my father gave me the whole information in a very unapologetically decent and
Wow.
with all the ways. And my mother scolded him also. I remember that also. That my mother scolded him that why did you tell her? We could have told her
Oh,
when it would have happened probably. And
yeah.
when it happened to me, I was in a white skirt on a in the school and but I knew about it because my father told and he was open about it basically. So similarly I think the shame which the question I asked you, people probably need to just talk about it. It's not a thing to be disgusted about. It's not a thing to feel ashamed about. It's a natural thing. It's just like you are having a
Yeah.
baby and you talk about it. So similarly you
Yes,
have your periods
exactly.
and you talk about it. So
Yes.
coming back to your research part, so any special incidents or any conversations which you remember and you were like this is wow and this is like oh we are still so backward in our thoughts and processes. Any conversations you remember?
Uh, yeah, I think I've spoken to one of the parent, and she has like a girl and a boy both as a child, and they both are like having same age, 1 year age difference. So she told me when she was telling her daughter about periods, she asked her son to sit there and understand it. She explained everything to both of them. And I
Wow.
think that something amazed me, because there are parents who are not even telling their daughters about it. And there's this parent who are telling both of them about it. So I think that's something which I liked about. And she also told me when her daughter and she herself is on their period, their son and his husband, they kind of take care of them, in a special way.
Oh,
So I think that was very, very good. I don't want to disclose the name.
no,
So
no, no, it's fine.
that was very,
But
that
that
was
is
very
such
good.
a pampered way of dealing
Yeah.
things. And, after working hard and there's something which is already different for 2 or 3 days of the month, and you want that pampering, you want
Yeah.
that care, and you want that notice. You want other people to observe कि हाँ कुछ चल रहा
Yes.
है and probably the other person needs some amount of care and understanding. So that's a
Yes.
really nice and hats off to that lady who has done that. And any
Yeah.
incidents of disgust or probably the conversations where you felt that we are still lacking so much and probably this is what needs to be done.
Yeah, I think there was one parent which I spoke to, and she told me that her daughter got her period in the school, and she didn't know anything about it. Her mom was planning to tell her, about periods, but somehow she didn't get that courage. I don't know why she needed courage. Maybe because of the brain, right? Because our brain are designed that way. So she needed that courage, and she was not able to tell her daughter. And then finally one day, her daughter got a period on in the school, and she was crying a lot, like her daughter was crying a lot. And when she got to know about it, when her daughter came back to home, then she told everything about the periods. And then she tells that I was about to tell, then her daughter told me, why didn't you tell me before? You know how much I was feeling ashamed of myself, or how much I was feeling scared that something happened to me down there. You know, I am injured, but I didn't fell down anywhere. I mean, nothing happened.
Nothing
How can I
happens.
be injured? I don't even, she said, I don't even do any sports or something. And how can like this happen to me? So I was scared. So that scare was something terrible for her mom as well. So she was apologizing. I mean, I said, you don't need to apologize, but tell me, do you think that there needs to be a platform so that they can teach your daughter in a healthy way? She said, yes, I would love to have that platform. And that's why I'm coming up with the podcast about puberty and periods, to to teach the kids and all of our men around it, everybody, about periods in a healthy way. This is periods, this is just as normal.
Right, of
So
course.
that's
You are scared of something which is not an open, probably, which people don't
yes,
know about.
exactly.
So
Yes,
anything which we know about, we're not scared of. So
yeah,
it's a good
exactly.
idea actually to bring that platform. So in your upcoming podcast, if we talk about that,
Mhm.
what are your plans when we say about periods and puberty? How do you plan to? Of course, we would want to wait for your podcast to come out and hear more on the discussions and things. But still, what do you think what you would like to bring forward in that podcast?
So basically, first thing is information, that what is puberty, when we hit puberty, what are the changes in our body. And then I'm going to be inviting so many doctors and experts, to talk about these things. So my idea of putting out that podcast is to normalize the periods and also to bring information. I think communication, to educate people about it, that's the main part which I'm going to bring out. So first, it's going to be like, it's not going to be like a reproduction chapter in the biology book. Definitely, if I'm a podcaster, I'm going to do it in a different way, so that it's interesting to hear. And the parent who are listening to it, they want their kid also to hear it, right? So it's going to be education podcast, including the conversation. Like I'm talking to you about it. I'm going to be inviting, the people like you who got I mean, you didn't get ashamed about period because you knew about it, but there are so many girls. So how was their experience when they get period, and what would have been different if they already knew about it? So these kind of conversation will be there, expert talks will be there, and also about the awareness about periods will be there.
Very
So many
true. I
things.
mean, awareness is it's not just knowing about periods. It's not just the first day when you have it. It is that probably humiliation or the way society humiliates you in different several ways. You are going to face that for a long time. So yes, I also saw something good at least during the initial start of my things. But there were things sometimes your probably husband does not understand and you have to explain things around it, and there are so many things. It's not just limited to the beginning of the period is just one thing. Then there are so many other stages where you do face that humiliation. Even other ladies don't want to talk about it, other friends, or sometimes your male friends are really very supportive. You also see that other side as well. So yes, that education, that awareness level needs to be there to actually bring out that this perspective. And already we have many people around us who are doing a great job, thanks to people like you. And it was amazing having this conversation with you, Arpita. So Menstrupedia and menstruation, they are doing a great job. And I'm sure with your podcast coming up, we are going to learn so much. Parents are really in need of such podcasts, trust me. So it is really difficult to make your child understand. We feel that we are grown-ups and we can explain it to them, but if
Yeah.
they are understanding it or not, you don't know that part. So
So
conversations or
I have I have a very personal story to share. So my son, he's just 6 years old, and he's now 6 year old. When he was like 4 or something, I was in the washroom and I got my periods, and I forgot to bring my pad. So I asked him to give me my pad, and he asked me, what is this, mom? I said, this is my diaper, because to the 4 year old, I could not think of a way that what to tell what it is. I said it's pad. He said, what's a pad? So I said, just like you use diaper, I use this. Why do you use diaper? Do you pee? So he asked. So he was just 4 year old, or he old, and he didn't understand much about it. So I said, no, it's not pee. It's something called periods. You will learn when you'll grow up. And now when I use cups, so it just like last week I ordered a cup, so and it came. So he asked, Mom, what is this? So I said, it's cup. I said, no, it's menstrual cup. Then he didn't ask me anything about it. It's like, it's very normal conversation in our house. So I know I am bringing up my son in such a healthy environment about periods and about everything. I am going to teach him everything about periods and puberty, what's going to happen with him as well. So I think the change is coming. It's going to take time, but
Slowly,
yes,
gradually. I totally agree to that. I mean, so if you don't talk about something and the kid suddenly comes to know about it from someone else, so
yes.
that kid might feel ashamed, because we are the first pillars. Parents are the first pillars of the house of for the child. And if the child comes to know something from them, like again, like you gave an example, I would also like to share something with my audience. So I have a daughter who is 10-year-old and probably soon will hit her puberty and period stage. So what I have done is, there are things which I cannot share with her, processes and stuff. So I have quoted that into adult talk. That's adult talk. Probably when you are going to be adult, you're going to come to know about it. But words like period, why, mama, what happened to you? Darling, I'm on my periods, I'm not feeling well. So I will be a little moody, so just stay away from me. So I'm using all those conversations around in the house. So that way she's accustomed to that thought कि अच्छा periods हो रहे हैं 3 दिन तक होते हैं. Okay, mama does not feel well. उस टाइम पे mama के पेट में दर्द होता है. जो पूरा एक scenario है. If you bring up that scenario, you don't need to tell everything to your child. You can tell them slowly and gradually once they hit it, or probably they are in the process of hitting it. But you can start conversing, talk. We should build that environment to talk. So I have this environment in my home, and trust me, my house has very conservative men, but still things are better because we talk. So
Yes,
talking
exactly.
always helps uh, develop those mutual feelings of trust and independence, basically. So thank
Yes.
you, Arpita. It was such a nice session, and so many wonderful things we learned from you. There were things, and we are really looking forward to your podcast, and hope to actually probably you can share us with you your research, or probably some slides, and we can furthermore share that with our audience. And once again, thank you so much, Arpita. That was a loving and wonderful session. And we have Women's Day coming up. So, a happy International Women's Day to you and to all of my audience.
Yeah, so yeah, happy Women's Day to you as well. And as I've told you, my cup version masterclass, I'm going to announce it on this Women's Day, which is tomorrow. So I'm going to announce it to them. And thank you so much for inviting me. It was really a wonderful conversation. Your insight and your idea about it is also very, very fascinating.
Thank you, Arpita. Thank you so much. And to our audiences, we'll try to bring up more topics around this in our next session. And till then, stay tuned, stay healthy, be safe,